Travel and leisure top 10 US cities. It was a survey, and y'all, we gotta talk about it. Not only am I a researcher, but I've also lived in 3 of the top 10 cities, and when I saw the results, I laughed. Charleston, number 1. I spent 3 lovely years in Charleston. It was great. Great city. Charleston having better food or culture than my former home, New Orleans, number 5, or my current home, Chicago, number 9, is mind-boggling to me. This is not hate. I love Charleston. And that's, it's just one person's opinion. So I was like, I want to know about the methodology. Like, what was the process that they used for the survey? What questions did they ask? Because I genuinely, the results are confusing to me, having lived in 3 of those cities and visited others. Like, New York doesn't have as good a food or culture as Charleston. I can't. I love you, Charleston. You're so cute. You're so darling. I love the time I spent there. But really? All right, y'all, this is a long one, so I'm gonna need to sit down, maybe hold the screen for 2x on this, but I promise you it is worth it because it's going to teach you about good survey methodology and why it is so, so important. Charleston can compete with any European capital. Have the people taking the survey been to Europe? I think that's important to know. I think it's important to know. Here's what we know from what they share about the results. Over 186,000 people who read travel and leisure completed the survey. Why don't they give an exact number? I don't know, because is it 1 more than that, 100 more than that? But whatever. Over 186,000 people took the survey. I'm a little dissatisfied with that. I'd like to know some more about the process of the survey and the people who took it. But lucky for me, Travel and Leisure has a whole survey methodology page on their website. See right here, T&L World's Best Awards Methodology, how we conducted the 2024 survey. I was excited to see this. I expected to see some real good information. Here's what we learned. They made a survey with a research firm called Proof Insights, and they made it available online from October 23rd to February 26th. That's good, right? You actually always want to say how long people had to take the survey. So great. Readers were also invited to participate through their magazine, through tablet editions, through newsletters, through social media, and travelandleisure.com. So they report that it's all travel and leisure readers, but maybe it's not, because this is actually just out in the internet and anyone can participate. They say that they did things to make sure there was no fraud. Who knows what they did or how they did it, because they don't tell us. What? It's just a methodology section. Why would you tell us that? So best survey practice would be you have a fixed group of people that you would like to take your survey. Let's say, for instance, it's all people who subscribe to Travel and Leisure magazine. You have that number of people, you send the survey to all those people, you send it in their print copy, you send it in their email, their newsletter, whatever. You find a way to make sure they can only take it once. That's your whole group. And then however many people respond, that would give you a response rate. So the number of people who responded out of the total number of people who could respond gives you a response rate, and you would share that when you're reporting your results and be like, hey, we surveyed all of our readers and our response rate was 70%. Travel and Leisure doesn't do that because they don't know how many people could have possibly taken the survey, because they just started out more strategic with newsletters, and they could look at their newsletter list and who visited their website, but it also went out on social media and all these other ways. So the bottom number is infinity. You can't get a response rate, so that's a problem. It's also a problem because I'm beginning to question what they actually know about who they took their survey, because they don't share anything with us about who they took their survey, about who took their survey. If it was just subscribers, they likely have other information on the subscribers. Here are some things that I would want to know about people voting for the best cities in the US. 1, I would want to know your age. 2, I would want to know what city or zip code you live in the US. 3, I would like to know how many vacations you went on in the last year. And 4, I would like to know where those vacations were. I think that is all very important context when you're voting for one of the top 10 cities in the US, specifically that you have been to that city and that you have been to other cities on the list potentially that you can compare it to. What I think would actually be super cool is if it was list all the places you've traveled in the last year and you're actually ranking and comparing them to each other. Just a thought. That's not what they did though. This is what they did. So they say that they asked respondents to rate things using the following scale: excellent, above average, average, below average, or poor. We talk another day about how I don't super love those categories, but like, okay, fine. Then they give a ridiculous amount of details about how they categorize the type of hotel and resorts and cruise ships. Again, no talk about cities here. No talk about how they did the city thing, but okay. Then they list all the categories and characteristics that people rated. So you see cities right here, and people are asked to rate sites, landmarks, culture, food, friendliness, shopping, and value. They rated all those things separately. We have no idea what those questions look like. Did they give a definition of what each of these things are? Because some of this language is kind of advanced. Value, even something like culture. What do you mean by culture? Obviously something different than I mean by culture, just looking at how people rated things. Sites/landmarks could be confusing. Like, this language would need to be much more simplified for this to be a really strong survey. But no idea how they asked about this. No idea for how they screen people. Could I rate literally any city in the US? Could I only rate cities that I'd traveled to? Was I allowed to rate the city that I live in? We don't know. And that's their methodology. Do you all see how messed up that is? That is not a methodology section. Methodology section about a survey should say, like I said before, the bit about response rates. Then it should say, like, here's how we decided who was eligible to answer each question. You had to have been to this city. You had to have traveled in the last year. You couldn't live in the city because that would bias responses. Like, all of these things, whatever decisions you made, should all go in your methodology. Bonus points if you want to show people the actual question you asked. I don't get why that's not standard practice, but it's not. But like, that would be methodology. I see this top 10 list, this one, getting reported everywhere, and I just think, according to who? According to who? The fact that this will get so much airtime and press without them actually giving the data to back this up is mind-blowing to me. Maybe they did this all really well and it was a super well thought out survey and it was executed excellently and these are really trustworthy results, but maybe not. And the truth is, based on what they're telling us, we don't know. So top 10 cities in the US? No, hard pass.